My name is Sister Roberta, and my home name was Irma Hesse. Um, Life before I entered, we lived on the farm in Munster, Texas, in a little German development. And I loved the farm. You know, the smell of the fresh fields and the cutting of hay, all that kind of thing, the birds. It was wonderful. And it always comes back to me, the farm. I'm kind of stuck on it. Um, I guess I would say the hardest thing that I mean, I was not so much aware of it, but we had to move when we were very little. And that, of course, was the time of depression. And we lost the farm and we had to leave and we went to another place. Uh, and it was wonderful. But let's see, anyway, the farm was just such a great part of me. But after we moved, things weren't so wonderful. And we had a lot of death in our family. We were a family of uh, 8 children. And when my mother gave birth to the eighth child, right after that, she died. And of course, my dad was concerned what he was going to do, but he had 6 sisters. So the morning after they took my mother's body, they were all sitting in the kitchen. And Joe said, Daddy said to his sisters, I don't know what I can do except send them to an orphanage. And so my Aunt Dora got up and she said, Joe, as long as I have breath in my body, none of your children are going to go to the orphanage. So she said, give me the baby. So she took the baby. And her older sister said to her, she said, Dora, you have 10 children of your own. And she said, and do you think this 5 pounds is going to make a difference as far as that goes? And of course, she took the child. And then my another aunt, Teresa, who never married, lived on a farm next to ours. And on that farm, she had 2 brothers living, Daddy's 2 brothers. And she said, well, I can take the baby, the other girl, the baby girl here. Her name was Jane. And to this day, Jane is still living. And of course, the rest, not the rest of us, the boys are gone. I have still one younger brother. And, but of us girls, we're still around. And well, life went on. We all, with this little boy who my Aunt Dora took, um, we went to visit them often. And I always think of prayer time as we drove in the car because we said the rosary on one way, and coming back, we had the litanies and all the other prayers that Daddy knew. And that was a wonderful time for us because we didn't know what was going on, I guess, in my daddy's heart. But anyway, it was lovely. Um, then one day we were at the house where they lived. I'll say Uncle Albert to keep the story short. But anyway, we were there, and I noticed that one of his eyes, blue eyes, was turning gray. And I said, Aunt Dora, what's happening here? What's happening? And she came and she called Uncle Albert right away. And he said, you know, I go tomorrow to work to get some, what do you call it, food for the hogs at the army base. We had a camp house and they had a base. And of course, all the farmers around went there for their with slop, as we called it, the word. It was all the food that was left over. It was good for the cattle. But anyway, he said, I'll ask that prisoner who is a eye specialist what we ought to do. And so he did. And the eye specialist said, "You take that child to Dallas tomorrow. Don't wait, and take him to an eye specialist." And he said, "How are we going to know? I mean, where is that? Where do we go?" And anyway, people were kind to us, people in town. We went to our doctor first of all to find out what. And so they took him down to Dallas, and they gave him uh, radiation for some time. And I just remembered he cried a lot and his face was just burned and what have you. But life goes on and people help you. And it's what I remember most of all, the help of other people. But anyway, um, um, and to sum it up, everyone, there were just a lot of death in the family, but the goodness of people is what I remember most of all. And then it came to the point when Daddy died, and I just finished my freshman year of school, and I had already finished it when Daddy was sick, and then he died at the end of that total school year. And then the same thing, life goes on. And my sisters and brothers were in different places, and um, we always gathered together. And then I have my little sister of 80 years old now said, she said, at the funeral of Daddy, we were in the wake, I should say, we were in the guest room, the Aunt Trace's room. And so one of my sisters said, "Why did the priest stood up after the rosary, and then he put his arms out and he said, 'You poor children,' and he started to cry." And then in that evening in the back bedroom, one of my sisters said, "Why did Father call us poor children?" And another one, a sister said, "Well, maybe because we don't have a mother or a father." And then my younger sister, the 80-year-old today, is she said, "Well, doesn't he know that we have each other?" And that having each other has just stuck in my mind till today, and it will tomorrow too, because there's always things going on.